Okay, so broken family sucks for mom and dad. And again, what about the kid? What's it do to the kid? I've already told you. They end up in prison. They end up dead. They end up with broken families. They end up working in strip clubs. They end up selling dope. They end up, all those things that we don't want to see, that's their trajectory. They're at a much greater risk for that. They end up the same place these foster kids do and these DFPS kids. Well, my parents got divorced and that's okay. I mean, if you really want to get into it, because this is way much more than I can, I'll sit down and talk to anybody who wants to talk to me. My parents got divorced and it's okay. I did really good. All right, fantastic. Had your parents stayed together, you would have been here. We know that since 1982. Yeah, but you don't understand my case. It's different. Okay, fine. There are exceptions. There's always exceptions. Yeah, dude's punching you in the face. Call the cops. Get his ass locked up. Sorry, get him locked up. Go to absolutely. But most divorces are. God wants me to be happy. Oh, and by the way, if you can show me that in the Bible, I'll give you $100. If you can show me where it says God wants me to be happy, I'll give you a $100 bill. I'm supposed to be joyous and free in Him. Because what Christ, I think, and I'm not a theologian, so if I screwed up again, please, don't out me. What Christ told me was, if you follow me, your life is going to suck. They're going to come after you. They're going to berate you. They're going to malign you. They're going to attack your family. They're going to attack your business. And I was listening to a couple of pastors actually said it, if you're going through life and everything's awesome and you're just rocking it and you're killing it and everything's amazing and you're like, Jesus, 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 you're probably not a Christian. Because if the enemy is not out there trying to kick your ass, then you're not a threat to him.
That's right.
Because it wasn't like this might happen to me, this will happen to me. And what we have in our state, I was a researcher. I'm a late in life Christian, so that's why I'm kind of rough. Yeah, and every now and then I'll drop an F-bomb, and so I'm going to apologize if that happens. I was in the Navy, so I learned to use that word a lot. What our state has done, if I'm the enemy, what do I want to do before I tear down society? I want to destroy the nuclear family. I want to take the leader, no offense women, the man out of the house. We do that 90% of the time in this state. Across the board. I'm going to take the man out of the house. I'm going to create a broken family. And ladies, I love you. I can't do stuff you can't. I can't have babies. I can't breastfeed. Our brains work differently. We have the same structures. I have a larger aggression center and probably larger than a lot of people in this room. But you have an empathy center that I don't. And that's why we both serve a purpose. I cannot teach a little girl how to be a godly woman because I'm not a woman. Unless I'm at Penn State and I'm swimming.
Are you a biologist?
I'm a developer. Sorry. I just happen to know a lot about the brain. But a woman, you cannot teach a little boy how to be a godly man because you're not a man. And that's why, and see, I was agnostatheist for a while because I was into science. So I was a researcher long before I found God. And I was like, I knew all this stuff that I'm telling you, and it's a long ass story, but feel free to ask me later. I had a burning bush moment, and I went seeking God. And when I found God, someone, after he won the battle, so to speak, said, here's the Bible, and he gave me the message. I recommend that for anybody who's first starting. Don't give him a King James, please. But anyway, he gave me the message, so I read the whole thing in about 3 months, because it's the playbook. And I was like, holy smokes. Everything God laid out to do with children, family, relationships, making amends, money, whatever it is. Our research has proven it over and over and over. And the funny thing is it's proven by liberal ass academics who hate God because most universities are extremely liberal. The NIH, argumentatively, they're not a conservative. They've all proven what God has said in that book. And that's one of the things that flipped me, that and C.S. Lewis and McDowell's book. But I read that and I said, This is literally everything I know to be true from research. And so I've got a lot of friends who are still academics, and they're like, Brooks, you're a smart dude. And I'm like, yeah, not really, because you should hear me anyway. And how do you believe in this fairy tale? And I'm like, tell you what, when they start loving the Jews, we got about 7 years, so buckle up. And if we get a year 8, I was wrong, and I will come and wash your feet. And that's the thing, though. I cannot come up with a scientific argument against it. Well, everybody knows C.S. Lewis was an atheist, right? He went out to disprove the existence of God and convinced himself, just like Strobel, there is a God. Oh, whoops. And so, but we've known this about kids and what it takes in families, but we don't do anything to keep these families together. But one of the huge issues, we can mandate, and I actually wrote a bunch of proposals. I work with a lot of men and women around the state who've been utterly screwed and are just disgusted. We've taken a bunch of, I just found out what a precinct chair was a couple months ago. Y'all probably know, and y'all are probably, what, you're stupid. Yeah, I am. I'm the wind-up guy, go tell them stuff. These are like the political guys who are like, you're gonna run for precinct chair. I'm like, what? What? They're like, just go up there and oh, by the way, write a bunch of resolutions. And I'm like, what's a resolution? I'm not gonna smoke this year, okay? And they're like, no, dude. And literally that, because I mean, I know this, they know that. So I wrote a bunch of resolutions, and it all has to do with family court, DFPS, gender modification, CRT, you name it. But the biggest one we have in there is judicial immunity. And people are like, how can you take away judicial immunity? No one's ever been, 20 years ago, cops could come up and shoot you and never get fired. Yep. They'd never get sued. They'd never get prosecuted. They wouldn't even get moved to a different precinct until those cameras came out and the cell phone cameras. Now we've got cops going to prison. Sometimes I think it goes the other way. But you know what, we can revoke immunity. Well, but not for judges because they're special. Oh, they're special because they can violate the Constitution. Yeah. But we have a heartbeat bill now, which should have been done 20 plus years ago. Rhinos. But we have a heartbeat bill because we used to fight uphill and we'd say, no abortion, and we already ruled on this, shut up and go home. But we flipped it and said, do you want to do it in Texas? Fine. People are going to come after you. And the Planned Parenthood was like, oh crap, there goes 97% of our business, rough estimate. We're going to fight uphill. And they said, no, it's not a constitutional right, see you later. Oh, we might have figured something out. Oh my gosh, I bet if we did that with judicial immunity and said, you want to be a frickin' judge in Texas, we're going to hold you to a higher standard. You want to violate the Constitution and openly violate our laws, you do not enjoy immunity from civil or criminal prosecution. Here you go. We already have the roadmap from the heartbeat bill. We just flipped the script. And then all the family attorneys go rushing, because a lot of family attorneys want to be family court judges. And if y'all like Judge Judy, Google Judge Judy Family Court, and she actually talks about that's where they put all the morons because no one watches it and no one cares. Yeah. But if you do the same stuff in a criminal court, you'll see yourself in federal court. You do the same stuff in a civil court, you'll see yourself in federal court. You do it in family court, federal court will not take it up. They will turn their back. They don't care because they don't want to open the floodgates.
And I really felt that the family court was a place that should be open to the press.
Yes.
Because at that time in New York, and probably in a lot of other places, it was sort of the dumping ground for morons and political hacks. People who had gone around and collected signatures for politicians to get on the ballot, they say, you know, we owe them a favor.
Yeah.
And where are we going to put them? We can't put them in the civil court or the Supreme Court because press goes in there to report. So we have to put them in a place where nobody can see the morons that we're appointing to the court. Now, I know that because I worked in the family court as a lawyer. Yeah. And it was frightening to see the mentality of people who were impacting on the lives of families and children.
The judges.
The judges. So I thought it was a great idea to have cameras in the courtroom when I became a family court judge. When I had the opportunity to say to 60 Minutes, yes, you can come, or no, you can't, I said, if I allow cameras in my courtroom, perhaps that will open up the family courts so that people will be able to see what kind of justice is being delivered by this very expensive court system. I actually believe that in order to be a family court judge where you touch so many different issues involving family, you should have a family.